What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of Snowpiercer Season 2, Episode 9, The Show Must Go On. Now, before we begin, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming in next. If you like the video, awesome, hit that like button, as well as comment below any video to watch, including this one. Going into Episode 9, I knew there was going to be some crazy stuff that happens because Wilford is a megalomaniac, he is a sadist, he is an individual you do not want to piss off, and the ramifications of everything that has happened to Wilford in the last 8 years, and basically throughout the entire series of him being on the show, have come to fruition and come to full force. And this is about him getting payback on everyone that has screwed him over. And so this episode was extremely dark, extremely disturbing. This, to me, is one of the darkest episodes of TV I've seen in, my God, a long time. Maybe, Lost. I mean, this episode is insane. It really was. It was what I wanted this season to be with Sean Bean's character, Wilford, because Sean Bean is one of those actors, if you give him the right parts and give him the right dialogue and kind of character arcs, you can make a truly despicable character. And throughout this season, he has had his moments where he's despicable, but it hasn't been until like the last couple of episodes where we truly start to see how methodical he is, how disturbed he is, and what he is willing to do when you cross his path. And so this episode, we start seeing kind of the pieces falling into place to, head into episode 10. And we basically get several storylines going on. We get the what's going on with Andre Layton, who was taken away in the last episode. And here he's working in compost. There's actually a really nice callback to the movie itself, where everything that is being thrown into the mixer, which looks like bugs. If you remember Snowpiercer, the movie, the bugs, and he's given a gelatinous cube, like this gelatinous cube that looks like a gold brick, but just black and disgusting. And I thought that was a nice callback. I was like, I really love that scene and that revelation. What exactly those bars that the tail section have been eaten in the movie. But here, it's kind of just the dregs of the bowels of Snowpiercer and Big Alice, and we see the disgusting nature, and it's what he's being fed, as a meal and stuff like that, as a torture. And we see that he basically is the only person in the compost. He's having to, whatever he's having to throw into the compost machine. It's disgusting. It's gross. And you can tell Layton's starting to kind of lose his mind a little bit. And it's a really kind of a set off point for, Layton not to lose hope, because he's actually visited by Josie later on. And he's like, we're going to finish what we started, which is going to be the oh crap moment in episode 10. But this episode has a lot of very horror elements, including the Layton stuff is very horrifying. But like I said, this whole episode is kind of the transformation into Wilford's Snowpiercer. We see paintings on the wall. We see in the flashback, I think a couple episodes prior or whatever, when Melanie is talking to Wilford and what Wilford wants to do, we're starting to see that thing where he's starting to basically corrupt Snowpiercer in his own image. If he had been in charge of Snowpiercer from the very beginning, this is what it would look like. We see paintings on the wall. We see Javier, who was part of Bennett's crew. He's taken over to Aleks, and we start to see just kind of the downward trend. Miss Audrey's just going completely insane. We see the cleanup crew clean up the walls and stuff like that, and we see basically a world turning into complete chaos without being true chaos, because now that Wilford's taken over the train, we have just a lot of uncomfortable nature of what's going on. It's pretty crazy stuff to watch. We see Bess worried about her being taken to where, of course, Sam and his family have been put under sleep jail or whatever you want to call it. Of course, Ruth needs her to go with him. We see Kevin, who's become truly sadistic in his nature. He's a truly kind of evilish individual. And it's a really kind of strong, melancholy experience, because everything that Bess and eventually Ruth and Layton and Melanie, all of them trying to do is create this democratic experience where everybody is equal. But as we learned from Wilford, that is not entirely possible. So it's really going to be really interesting to see what happens in episode 10 when Layton breaks out of the compost area. As we've seen in the trailer, he fights Wilford. So I'm really interested to see what that's going to happen there. And we also have, of course, Josie, who is talking to the doctors, and she's trying to get answers about what exactly happened to her. And it's exactly what I was expecting. They made a bigger and better Icy Bob. Icy Bob was a test subject to be able to be strong out in the cold if they ever need stuff fixed or they need to break a revolution down, stuff like that. And basically Josie has been experimented on, and the doctors have basically made her into a superhuman, because she can go out in the snow and she can survive it without having damage to her skin. And it's everything I was expecting to have happen to her ever since she's been on Big Alice. And it's really interesting to see to watch, because she knows there's something truly off about what's going on. These doctors are basically playing God, I guess you could say. And it's really fascinating and really just kind of really, really dark if you think about it. But Josie, of course, I'm actually skipping between like the different parts of the episode just to kind of keep it in order. At some point, Josie goes and talks to Layton and explains the situation, what exactly happened. Layton's character can't understand why she is in a better shape than she was in the beginning. And then it's come to the conclusion that she's going to help him with his revolution to take back Snowpiercer, which is exactly what's probably going to happen. Who's going to die? Nobody knows. I actually thought Ruth was going to die in this episode, believe it or not. But is that whole thing with that. And the biggest thing about this episode is Wilford's kind of test of everybody who was part of the revolution. He is starting to make people disappear, which I'm guessing he's putting him out in the cold to be killed. He's basically declining the levels of the tail section, which is very telling of who Wilford is. He never wanted the tail section to be there anyways, so he's starting to slowly dissipate that crew. But the thing that happens in this episode that's really important in the testing of these individuals is Wilford is open car 272. At least Kevin has told Ruth that the car is open. He needs a child to kind of show off 272, and I thought it was pretty clever that I think it was a coincidence, but car 272 is called Willy's World, which I thought was funny because Willy's Wonderland just came out, and it's a theme park circus type place, kind of like Willy's Wonderland. So that is a very interesting scene because it's very creepy, it's very dark, it's disturbing. We see like this really hellscape like circus scene, something straight out like a horror film of some sort. And we see, of course, this big spinning thing in the middle. We see Wilford come out of it. He has this painted on, mustache or whatever. And he basically presents this puppet show, which is his test show. And Aleks and LJ are down there, and Bess and Ruth and some other people that are part of the revolution in a lot of ways. He shows Snowpiercer being taken back by Wilford in this puppet show, and he shows Melanie being killed. And the one thing you don't want to do to make Aleks upset is to kill his mother in any form, or her mother in any form. So we start to see the true turning point of Aleks and how what Melanie has done to her, kind of bringing her back to reality of what Wilford has done. But the whole circus scene is just creepy. It's just weird. It shows you the mind of Wilford and how disturbed he truly is, how much of a menace he is. And you also see with the way Bess, the way Zara, the way Aleks talk to him, the way they act towards him, that he doesn't truly have a grasp or grip on this whole situation. You can see that his smile is no longer there. He's feels truly uncomfortable the way he looks, his mannerisms and stuff like that. And it really shows you that Wilford may not have total control on this train, and the people might be for Layton. Maybe it's a lot different than he expected, but it's really a strange moment when you see Wilford and his reaction. But he offers several individuals as a randomness, supposedly, to come to a dinner party while he opens up this fair of sorts for the rest of the people. And the people that are in this dinner party are not randomness people. They are people like LJ and her boyfriend now, John, which I forgot to talk about. They are now a couple. John has a really cool moment where he plays piano and sings, and he has a beautiful singing voice, which is not surprising. Bess and Zara. Bess is brought to the dinner party. Zara is brought to the dinner party. We, of course, have Ruth, who's the concierge, who's at the dinner party. Aleks is at the dinner party. And basically, what is happening is Wilford is tempting these people to come to his side, to be on his side. He's also going to test each one of them. And the tests are very disturbed things because they are showing what he is truly capable of. Miss Audrey and Wilford, of course, come down. They're totally drunk and stuff like that. Aleks actually voices her disdain for the simple fact that he's like, when are we going to go get my mom? And Wilford's like, why would I, now that he runs the train, why would I attempt to go get her? Why would I risk Snowpiercer? And it causes Aleks for the first time to basically stand up against Wilford. And what happens? She's put in jail. She's put in the brig. And we truly know that if, Aleks survives the season, Aleks has been a very interesting character who, through the last few episodes, hasn't gotten a lot to deal with, but you can tell her world has crumbled dramatically ever since her mother's come back. And it's really just kind of an interesting thing. So the other big thing is Ruth is sat down at the table, even though she's concierge. She says she's concierge. And Kevin's placed across from her. And what's really interesting is Ruth is given the ultimatum where she can stay on as his main concierge if she is able to go and kind of make herself known that she is before Wilford and so on and so forth. Like I said in the last few episodes, Ruth's character arc has been completely changed by everything that's happened. She went from being a true Wilfordite, somebody that truly worshipped Wilford, even in the first episode of the second season, to someone who really truly cares and realizes her mistakes and how she wants to fix the situation. And what makes it so truly interesting is she denies and says, no, I'm not going to do that. I decline. And you can see Wilford, who he knew was going to happen. He's like, okay, you're stripped of your concierge duties. We see Ruth for the first time out of uniform, out of costume. It actually might not be the first time. She might have done it before, but this is a truly new moment and turn Ruth into one of the best characters in the series, because her character arc has been so three-dimensional and so kind of, the progression of her character from one point to another has been so smooth and so kind of slowly there, but you kind of it starts eking into your soul a little bit. And she is actually taken away to the compost section where she sees Layton and stuff like that. Layton and, of course, Ruth have their conversation about, we're about ready to take back Snowpiercer when the big war is going to happen. And it's really cool. Really, I love Ruth now. She's amazing. She at first was a very singly dimensional character, and now she's turned into a really cool three-dimensional character with a lot of real true emotion, and she is going to be interesting to see as as the series progresses. So, and then of course that leads into, it's almost like three temptations a little bit, because we get to the last one, which of course is Bess's temptation. And Bess has always been a straight arrow character. She's always been somebody that's looked for truth and justice and always wanted to kind of pinpoint her progression. She's not a bad character. She's not a good character. She's a character that is very straightforward in her meaning, and she's going to do the right thing. And so Wilford takes her to a holding car of some sort, and basically this is like the execution cart, execution car, of the train. And we see all the perpetrators of the Breachman murders, every single one that was involved. Of course, Wilford knows who did it, and we see all of them in there. They have masks on, which are attached to the outside ports, and basically as retribution and to see in the test Bess's willingness to be part of Wilford's crew, he gives her the option to pull the lever, effectively executing all the breachmen as long as she commits to Wilford's cause. And Bess, who's always taken the right steps, says no, she's not going to do that. And still, Wilford pulls the lever, effectively killing all the Breachman murderer people. And it's a really messed up moment because they did it for Wilford, and he knows that, but he's a sadistic individual, and they all died for a cause that he was truly on board with. And that's why I get into the whole thing of, this is very much a you do for me, and if you don't, you will be punished for it kind of situation, similar to our state in America for the last 4 years and stuff like that. So it's a truly remarkable thing that it's I'm in charge, you don't like what I do or say. This has become a communist society where Wilford is in charge, and if you don't do what he says, you will be punished for it. We even see it when they take all the fruits and vegetables. Like, everything is just it's not a democratic society anymore. Even Wilford mentions it. It's, I say what's what happens, and that's exactly what happens. And so it's a really dark and disturbing moment. The one thing I was not expecting, and I'm not going to put any footage of it or any pictures or anything because it's, I don't want to get flagged or anything, but the one thing I was not expecting is to have a TNT show, which I haven't watched very many TNT shows apparently, have some like truly graphic sex scenes. And I don't mean like they're showing like, male genitalia or female genitalia. There's like people having sex, there's people having oral sex. It's like actually shown on screen. It's really kind of crazy if you think about it. It's really dark because it's kind of like an SM, if you ever watch Caligula type of situation. And it's funny when you talk about like Caligula and stuff like that because it's a movie that is really graphic in its nature. What's interesting about it is it didn't take long for Wilford to truly corrupt the train. I mean, I have no idea how long this season has been going on for, like in time frame wise, but it hasn't been that long, maybe a few months at the most, and he's been able to corrupt the entire Snowpiercer to a point where they are just completely out of control. This is similar to like Pike's character, which actually, whatever happened to, I don't even know what happened to Pike, to be fairly honest. He kind of disappeared. Yeah, it's basically what Pike wanted at the end, like when they took over the revolution, when they revolutionized or whatever, Snowpiercer back in season 1, and Pike had all these like, women all over the place, and he had this, very hot, like a hostel and stuff like that. And it's very, very interesting to see. It shows you the plight of human nature and human existence and stuff like that. But yeah, that's episode 9 in a nutshell. It's the penultimate episode before the kind of complete utter chaos that will be episode 10. And I really love this episode. I really did. Like I said, it's really strange and really funny to see a season have like some really not great episodes, and then the last 3 or 4 episodes just completely turn the series around. I mean, I'll get into episode 10 here in a second, but it's a truly amazing episode. It really is. Like, it's a 9 out of 10. There are some issues with the fact that, it seems a little too convenient that everything's happening at once, but to have all this happen, to have the darkness, which is what I was expecting out of Wilford, that happening now, to see his manipulation of everybody and his kind of the way he's trying to control everything and the way he's turning from a dictatorship to a communist ship so quickly. I know that's not a word, but communist ship. I love it. I really do. I think it's a great episode. So that's episode 9. The show must go on. Very interesting, very dynamic, and very intriguing to what episode 10 is going to be, which I'm going to talk about now. So, like I said, 9 out of 10. So that'll do it. That'll be my take on Snowpiercer Season 2, Episode 9, The Show Must Go On. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode. Do you think it was as disturbing as deranged as I did? Did you like it? Are you still in the same boat as Season 2 is just not that great? Like I said, I really like the episode, but that's just me. But, other people have different opinions. But anyways, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.